What's up, everybody? You're listening to Idobi Warped Radio here on Idobi Radio with your host, Fish. I am very excited for today's episode because one, I didn't get too sunburnt at Warped Tour Long Beach, and two, he is celebrating 20 years of his iconic record, Chroma, with his band. I'm very stoked right now to have Will from Cartel in studio. What's up?
Nothing, man. Just hanging out.
Hell yeah. Dude, one, congratulations on the incredible weekend. We'll talk about that more, but your guys' set was absolutely insane.
I appreciate it.
There are just so many elements we'll get into. We're going to dive into every single element because I was like literally taking notes the whole entire time. I'm like, I'm going to talk to Will all about this 35-minute set.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. And dude, 20 years of Chroma off the bat. How does that feel to know that you dropped your debut record 20 years ago and people are still discovering it and connecting with it the same way they did?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much humility involved with that. I mean, and gratitude is, 20 years on. I mean, there's a lot of records I listened to 20 years ago that I don't listen to anymore, and so, there are plenty that I do, but to have an album that kind of fits in some people's, paradigm and to keep it around for that long, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And now, what inspired you guys to go in and re-record the whole record as opposed to doing a repressing or a special edition like you guys did with the 10-year version of the album?
Taylor Swift, I mean, come on, Her Highness showed us all the way, it's like the most punk rock of all of us. That, half joking, but she, we do a lot of vinyl, like you said, and we've noticed that it's just been harder and harder to get licenses, the departments at the labels that run those things, it's becoming harder to get in touch with them and all that. So for us, it was like just more practical to redo it, as well as we wanted to modernize the album a little bit sonically, as well as kind of bring it up to date with how these songs have evolved over the years of playing them. Because there's even going back while we were doing the re-recording, like referencing like stuff off the original, we were like, oh, I forgot we even did that. Like, oh shit, well, this is how we play it, because live you just figure out a different way, it just morphs into something else. Like the song is there, but there's little subtle differences that you forget you even did on the album because you barely knew the songs then compared to how they, how well versed you are in them 20 years into playing them. So, we wanted to bring all that together and kind of tie all those ends and make it something that we can use to, kind of unite all the fans and do the thing again, as well as sort of a launching pad for, next year and the years after with new music and everything.
I love the sounds of that. Yeah. Two words I love together with Cartel, new and music. But obviously the record Chroma was such an iconic record for not only the band, but all the fans who listened to it. Like I said, tattoos, aim away messages, MySpace bulletins, everything back in the day. Even probably made its way to Facebook statuses still to this day.
Yeah, sure.
And tweets. We all the social media covered with Chroma quoting the record. So many iconic lyrics on it. And it was before it was all about melody. It was very wordy, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. So for you, what was the hardest lyric to go back to and sing and re-record and have to sing over and over and over again?
I would say we sort of solved some of that with like how we approach something. Like, because Minstrel's Prayer, that's a fan favorite. It's classic. It's got the big boom, ba boom, to start. The lyrics are I would say for me, a little cheesy because I was like super in love with my girlfriend who is now my wife. And so, I was in full like, romance mode, feeling my most Shakespeare as I could. And I say that with full tongue in cheek. I recognize that I am not Shakespeare, but, being able to go back to that song and be like, all right, well, like, what would we do now? Like, so we kind of made like more of like a Bon Iver version of that song, and it makes the lyrics like stand in a little different way. And otherwise, honestly, I can say they're all like still heartfelt 20 years on, which is cool.
That's incredible to hear. Now, what was the hardest lyric to sing back from a dynamic standpoint, or line rather at that point?
Gosh, that is a tough one. Honestly, like, Settle Down is a tough song to sing. Like, that's it's just vocally, it's a lot. Especially it gets into the bridge of that song. It is somewhat demanding, especially it's not one of the songs that we've like played at every show like other Chroma shows. So going back to that one was tough. But I mean, I love that song. It hits pretty hard.
Definitely does. And now when you guys were talking about doing the whole re-release or re-recording, however you wanted to present Chroma for the 20 year, when you guys settled on you guys were going to re-record it, what was the consensus on how stoked you were to change one thing about the record?
Yeah, we were all like pretty in on it. Like just, you know, a full send. I think it was, we wanted to make Honestly a little less polished and bring a little bit more edge to it. Which is funny because it was like one of our biggest songs, but obviously we had to play it so many times and played it so many other times than we played normal sets because, you know, you do like special appearances or, you know, this, that, and the other. Everybody wants you to play Honestly. So it's like, how can we make this like a little, like rip a little harder? Because we always felt it like had that edge to it, even though obviously love song and still like poppy. But I think over the years it kind of felt like it got a little like, it's like a rock. It was like, it just gets smoothed out by waves crashing over it over the years. Yeah. It's like, no, let's rep it up again. Like,
that's awesome. And then even the lyrics to Honestly, I feel like were very ahead of its time because not to get like really deep and philosophical about Honestly, it kind of sounds like what the social media generation ended up becoming. It's like everyone has something to hide behind. Why aren't people really being honest with themselves? And I just think back to the music video too. And people, it was the first time we saw in music people quote unquote hiding behind a screen because everyone was on a screen technically, right?
Yep.
So talk about the new life that song is, or maybe a new meaning that song's taken on, seeing how everything's played out over the last 20 years. Would people not, you know what I'm going to say? Yeah. People not being honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think a theme for me, like throughout all our albums, really, like it's that authenticity, I guess. And more so being aware of like your true self and how those, you know, dynamics play out in real life. I know, especially with the new album, there's a lot of that lyric, you know, focus. And I think that's really kind of a sort of a scarlet thread. It's very communal, like everybody can relate to that feeling of just like, feeling like you're not good enough, and just kind of the toils that come with that, where some people like, you know, loud and proud it, you know, like I say anything else sort of concept. And then, you know, there's other times like even on our second album with I Will Hide Myself Away, like it's a common string that kind of comes through there where it's like you could recognize who you are, but want to hide it away from people because you feel like you might not be accepted, or you're just going to be like unashamedly yourself. And then what ramifications come from that. So I think like, you know, honestly, honestly ends up being, you know, kind of more of a place to, you know, come out of your shell. Like don't recede because of the fear, you know, in that sense. And yeah, I mean, we just got really super philosophical about what is, you know, essentially a love song. But, yeah, I think that's something that, you know, kind of transcends just, you know, a one-to-one, like, hey girl.
Yeah. No, you know? I think lyrically, like, this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like that song's kind of taken on a life like Teenage Dirtbag in a lot of different ways where people are relating to it more and more as the years go on.
Yeah, that's fair.
So can't wait for the Wheatus Cartel tour now after Wheatus sees this interview.
Hey man, you know, like we haven't toured with them. That'd be sick. Let's rip.
And I'll be asking for a +2 at every date.
Okay. Fair enough.
So now when going back and looking through the sessions from Chroma, did you guys uncover any demos or anything where you're like, maybe this might be fun to touch up again and maybe rework?
Not really. I mean, I think some of the stuff is more so buried in the sessions. There weren't really a lot of demos for Chroma. I know we had Burn the City, which Burn the City sort of played out exactly how the demos were. There's really nothing different from the album to the demo there, other than just sounding better, because I really didn't do it well in my bedroom. we never had a demo for Q&A. We just like kind of shot from the hip on that one. We were actually like mixing Q while we were still recording A in the studio. So yeah, that was wild. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it more so for the re-record was just kind of going back and like unearthing the sessions that we recorded to say like, oh, well, what are the little details that we're missing here, and that was cool to hear some of those tracks and kind of where we were coming from with that.
For sure. And when you guys were naming the songs on the record, did you guys know a whole generation was going to hear A as soon as they got into their car for many years to come?
No, I've said is the original Rick roll. And what's really funny is I like it's starting to happen to me now. Getting in the car, we got a different car recently, and like now whenever I plug my phone, it just auto plays it. I'm like, no! Like my friends have been telling me about this for so long, and then now it's getting me. Yeah, but what can you do? Alphabetical order being what it is.
I could definitely think of probably 500 other songs I would not want to hear. So I'm very happy it's A by you guys.
Fair.
So now I heard you guys recorded Chroma in 8 days originally.
Something like that. Yeah, we finished most of the tracking. Yeah, it was hazy because it went really fast. But we finished most of the tracking like 8 to 10 days, and then there was like mixing and like overdubs and stuff kind of coming through that.
Jeez, did you guys have the same approach with the re-recording of the record? You're like, man, we only had this amount of time. We're doing it like this again.
No, we took a lot of time with the re-record. Like, we recorded drums, re-recorded drums really fast, and then did, I don't know, I'd say it probably took us about 4 or 5 weeks. But a lot of that was just coming back and taking our time and knowing that we weren't in any rush because we did it like a couple years ago.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how much did playing over the years influence the way you guys recorded these songs? I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, talking about playing live and how it kind of smooths out how you guys play it. How much of that live element came to the recording? Because usually it's the recording going to the live element.
Yeah. I mean, just there's some like little Easter egg stuff. Like now there's a transition between Run Away and Burn the City. Oh yeah. And then we also like switched the sequencing back to the way we originally had it. Which I don't know if we've necessarily said we've done that yet, but here we are. Firsts. So the original sequencing was Say Anything Else, Honestly, Run Away, Burn the City, and then Save Us and the rest of the album. So like Matter of Time was always like, before If I Fail. So it was between Settle Down and If I Fail. That's the way we recorded it. It's the way we intended it. And then before it actually came out, the label was like, well, what if we switched it? Because, they're like, Matter of Time is that song that takes, your album from like 500,000 to 1 million. I'm like, why don't we get to 500,000? And like, maybe that's, something we deal with, then, but like we have, our EPs sold like 5,000 copies. So like, I don't know if those are the, the thoughts that we need to be bringing into this, especially when changing like the way we intended this order to go. So maybe we're messing with a little bit of things there, but what we ended up doing is like back in the day, we would play Run Away and Burn the City right back to back. And there was this like jam transition thing that happened in between. And that was always kind of what we wanted to do. It was never actually recorded, but it's what we did live. So we actually brought that into the re-record. So it's a variation of it. It's not the same thing, but that's what we ended up doing for that. So it makes a little bit more sense. People go, oh, I remember that from 20 years ago when they used to play it.
That's so cool that you even mess with the order, or not mess with, reorganize the order.
Yeah. That's it, though. That's the only change. We just shifted that around. So, but it also makes a little bit more sense not to have Matter of Time like right up front like that. It's more of a somber song that sort of leads you towards, minstrels and Q&A and all that at the end.
Definitely. And now, do you feel any pressure with the new music coming out after Chroma? Because it's kind of like you're following up Chroma a second time in a weird way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is a big synchronicity. Like I'm big in like metaphysical, like woo sort of things and like seeing like signs and patterns and things like that. And I've been saying this a lot, but it's like, it feels like there's a wormhole from 2005 to 25 now with Chroma that it's been able to like obviously give us so much of our, the success that we've had in our careers due to that album and people's attachment to it. But then to be able to bring that to, now in 25 and celebrate a 20 year, but then be able to follow it up again. Like that's really cool. And I mean, with the new album, I mean, it's already written, so there's no pressure because it's already done. And I think we had plenty of time between the re-recording now, and like we hadn't really thought about, well, what's after that. Mm-hmm. And then the new album sort of, I don't know, it was just sort of, like I tuned into the right radio station,
idobi radio.
Yes, it was through the idobi radio channels in the metaverse there. But yeah, it just came through, very smoothly and like organically, and like almost like it just had to happen this way. So, I'm feeling really, I'm really, really excited about the next, I probably was, so we're in July, records probably sometime in May. So like being able to go on the Chroma tour, do the whole thing, celebrate with the fans, follow up with some touring early next year, and then drop a new album and then just start it all over again. It feels really, really exciting right now.
That's so cool. It's people say you don't get a second chance at your debut record, but you definitely don't get a second chance usually at following up your debut record.
Exactly. So you just make your own luck,
Exactly. So if there was one song off of Chroma that no one's heard before, mm-hmm. and they're coming to see you guys on the 20-year tour of Chroma, or if they haven't heard Chroma and they're going to the 20-year tour of Chroma, what song would you want someone to hear before going to the tour?
Ooh. I would say you probably need to listen to Q&A before you see it go down live and wonder, like, this song's still going? Like, oh yeah. But you gotta get it. You gotta know what's coming.
I will say that's where my vocal cords definitely blew out.
Apologies.
It definitely was your fault, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
between that and Thursday, man, the acoustic set, so good. So on Thursday night, for those who didn't see on idobi Warp Radio, Will was nice enough to come by idobi Sonic Tap, Fishmas in July, and perform a handful of songs for a Warp Tour kickoff party. It was very fun.
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
And honestly, a dream come true. I never thought I'd have Cartel in any capacity at any of my events or parties.
Who says dreams don't come true, man?
Exactly. It was just that one time on a cruise ship.
Oh, yeah.
Cuts to that interview with Kenny and Patrick Walford.
Yeah.
So, how has a collaboration with Cassidy Pope come about? And is that the only collaboration you guys are doing on the re-release of Chroma?
That is the only
recording.
One.
Sorry.
Yeah. That is the only one. We had on Q&A. Funny enough, there was always a vocal. Towards the end, it's just like backup vocals. But it was a friend of ours who was in a band called the Coat Hangers from Atlanta. Her name was Julia. She sang on all of that stuff for us. And when we were redoing it, they're like, "Oh, are you going to have those vocals?" I'm like, "Oh, no, we got to redo it." So, I mean, the first, name that came to mind was just like, it has to be Cassidy because like her mom is our business manager. So, like, we just always been around her, and obviously we toured together, but I knew Cassidy since she was like 16, like when we were touring, and then she was just starting to write stuff and get kind of in the music industry. We wound up writing a song together. Like, I think it was even a couple of the guys who ended up being in Hey Monday were in her band then, so we wrote a song like ages ago, and then she kind of got picked up and did the whole Hey Monday thing, so we just always remained friends and in each other's orbit. So I asked her if she'd, do us the honor of throwing down some of those vocals at the end. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." So, yeah, it worked out really, really well.
That's awesome. And I can't imagine anyone would have told you no if you asked them if they wanted to be a part of the Chroma re-recording.
I mean, maybe. I don't,
I mean, maybe if they didn't have a voice for time, but that's about the only two reasons possibly. I would have trained my voice to get back from where it was to feature.
Fair enough. We did need some gang vocals,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe next time I'll get in on the gang vocals. So, you naturally dropped Honestly as the first song to tell everyone about the whole new version of Chroma you guys are dropping. Then you guys dropped Lucky Street 2, which, man, that re-recording's so fucking good. Every time I hear it on idobi, I just smile ear to ear. I'm like, Man, that's so cool that we get to play this again.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision to put those 2 songs out first? And was that how the original rollout was for Chroma?
Well, Chroma only really had the one single. It was just Honestly. The rest of them never really got like a real rollout. I mean, we did the music video for Say Anything Else. That came out, but like there was never a radio push on it. But Lucky Street was the first song that we ever really kind of pushed. Like that is actually the first song that got played on the radio in Atlanta when we did the Ransom EP.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, Lucky Street's kind of been, that was like the, the tip of the spear for us, like initially. So those 2 coming out, back to back was kind of, it just had to be that way.
Yeah. No, that's so cool to hear. And that's crazy to hear that technically there wasn't like a push on any of the other singles. Because in my head as a fan and being as old as I was when it came out, every single song on Chroma was a single in some capacity.
Could have been. I mean, Say Anything Else got a good push from the Madden soundtrack.
Yeah.
So that definitely was helpful there. Then, just kind of the lore around Q&A, that did a thing. So yeah, but I mean, there's so many of those songs that I'm like, oh yeah, I forget that they're all on one record,
Yeah. I think a lot of people coming to the 20-year tour is also going to say the same thing in a very positive way.
Yeah. Like, so am I.
So now you got to go in and re-record all the audio for the record. Now you said there's only a handful of music videos, maybe 2 music videos that came out with Chroma.
Yeah.
If there was anything you could redo with those for a 20-year version, would you redo them, and what would you do with them?
I think it'd be really funny to redo the Honestly video, because it was like, selfies with like Polaroids and like, whatever cameras that they had. There's no like phone cameras.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be funny to redo that just in modern times. That could be cool, but we haven't gotten around to doing any videos for it. Maybe we'll like look into that like while on the Chroma tour or something. I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of been the furthest thing from our mind right now. And just the production around the Chroma tour is going to be so like vast that we've been really sitting in on that for as far as visuals are concerned. But I think we should definitely do some video elements. It'd be fun.
That'd be so cool. And I was going to talk a little bit more about visuals in the third segment, but since you mentioned it, how is it going into the Vans Warped Tour and having to prepare visuals? Because no one's ever had to do that before to prepare for a Vans Warped Tour set.
Yeah, exactly. You never got to put up your backdrops or anything. It was just show up and rip. Yeah, no, that was really cool. Thankfully, our management has a lot of experience with it, and we have a lot of good friends in our network that know what they're doing. So it was cool to be able to take advantage of those, installations and kind of make the show our own with that.
Yeah, it was so cool. We'll get into more of that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
And now, prepping for this tour, how's it different than any other Chroma playthroughs you've done and the original Chroma tour that you guys went on?
Yeah, I mean, with the original tour, like, kind of, we don't want to just do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And we had like, a lighting package, so to speak, with that. But we really wanted to like turn it up a notch for anybody who did go to that, who's also going to come to this one. So we're kind of switching some things around, not going to give away too much of anything, but, we're making it different than the first time you saw it. And then the lighting production stuff is going to be a sight to behold. Like, bring your sunglasses, it is, it's like, it is called Chroma, like the whole, that's all around light. So there you go. And as far as like other playthroughs, I think it's just like the other playthroughs, like standalone things. It's less of like a culture that we can like establish. It's like, the When We Were Young stuff, like that was just stand up there and rip it. There's no like, hey, we're going to curate this vibe around the playthrough, because it was all playthroughs. In the other time, I think we've done it like a couple other times. There was the cruise, the Andrew McMahon cruise we just played last year. And I think one other time we've done a standalone playthrough, but those are just a little more like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like, we're just going to do this.
Yeah. No, it must be super special for a fan to hear it for the first time live like that too.
Yeah, which is why we are taking, great care with the tour to make sure that it's not just like, all right, cool, we're just going to like slap our stuff up here and start playing songs, so we're going to make it like something to remember.
Going to make an experience and kind of set the bar high for the openers, because you guys have some incredible, You guys have some incredible up-and-comers coming out with you on this tour, including Landon Conrath, Honey, Mescal. So talk about having young artists like this coming on the tour.
Is Max Seal.
Max Seal, yes.
Mescal would be...
I'm still in weekend mode.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I know Joseph would prefer those Mescal margaritas, but he'd be like, damn, we missed it. No, yeah, all those bands. I mean, it was important for us to, try to bring people up with us, instead of like trying to grab somebody, a band that's well established that somebody might know, and just kind of snatch it for a ticket grab, Mm-hmm. We really wanted to make sure we could bring some friends up with us. So, yeah, we're really excited about all that. I mean, Honey's dope. Like you said, Landon Conrath, Max Seal, they're both really cool artists. So, I think there's a little something for everyone when you show up, and, you're not just kind of waiting for the headliner. You get to actually, experience some cool stuff that you haven't necessarily heard of before.
Definitely. And now, were there any tours in particular that you were thinking, man, it'd be so sick if we recreated this tour package that we did?
Oh man. I mean, the wildest and most fun, I mean, that was like the Cobra Starship Boys Like Girls, our first headliner. That was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously both those bands went on to do pretty well for themselves. But that was a really fun tour. I mean, I think there was even like a lot of like tour tattoos that went down on that. I didn't get one. But we had like a car with like, I think they had wings or something on it. I forget what the actual iconography was, but plenty of people like on the tour ended up getting that as like a tour tattoo, which we haven't ever had otherwise. But if it wasn't, the other answer would be to go do a Starting Line Newfound Glory tour, because those are like, before we went on that headlining tour with Boys and Girls and Cobra Starship, it was the Starting Line Screaming Is for Babies tour, right when Based on a True Story had come out.
Oh, no way.
That was early 06, and then late 06 we did Newfound, which sandwiched around our Warped Tour in 2006. So having both of those bands like in that time period like really kind of showed us a lot about how to tour, how to treat people, like, just like I said, curating a culture, a vibe, and like making sure that everyone's taken care of. It's a good time. There's no egos, yada, yada, all those sorts of things. So we learned a lot from them. So, and, we get to call them, really good friends, if not brothers, and, also be peers. It's pretty cool.
Wait, I'm still trying to process Cobra Starship and Boys Like Girls opening for you guys.
Yeah.
That it makes sense, but holy shit, hearing it out loud, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because all three of you guys headlined Warped Tour this weekend in some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
crazy.
That was Boys Like Girls. I think their album, it came out like right when we went on the tour. And they started blowing up pretty quickly throughout all that. But then like Cobra Starship, I want to say Good Girls Go Bad. I don't know if that had come out yet. It was a long time ago. I forget. But it was definitely obviously after Snakes on a Plane. But
yeah.
It just really hit the right time to have those two bands, because they would be headlining all throughout, like, I think the next tour they did.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that was the last time they opened.
That's crazy. And that's cool to hear old tours from you and about artists like that, because every time I mention Cartel around state champs, without fail, Derek instantly, I'm like, yo, Will from Cartel's coming through his studio. Yo, Cartel's the first band to ever show us love and brought us on our first tour, like first notable band. So is there any band that sticks out that you took out on one of their first tours where you're like, wow, this band has it? Besides state champs, obviously, because we were just talking about it.
We just said that.
Derek is watching right now. Hi, Derek.
Yes, hi, Derek. We love those guys. Honestly, the craziest one is Panic at the Disco. It wasn't our tour, but they opened. It was the Acceptance, Receiving into Sirens, us, and Augustana. Then Panic at the Disco opened, like literally the first tour they ever went on before Nintendo Fusion Tour.
Wait, was that the one Paramore was on for a little bit too?
They took Panic at the Disco's place. They were going to be the next thing I said.
No way.
Yeah, so it's like whatever like mojo was going on in that opening slot, that was the correct mojo because those obviously both those bands just went absolutely, orbital after that. So, yeah, it was really cool to get to know those, those bands before they took off and became household names. It's really cool. Plus, I mean, you get a little bit of that like Big Brother thing. We're like, I remember, like you didn't have like 8 semis bringing your gear, you were pulling it out of a conversion van and you didn't know which way was up. I remember that, but they're sweethearts, all of them, really good people, and a lot of fun to tour with.
So good to hear. I've heard that story from every band you listed on the lineup that I've interviewed. Everyone references that tour. One of the most iconic tours I think in the scene.
Yeah, crazy.
Who was the first band to show Cartel love like that?
That would have been Starting Line.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they because we didn't know those guys at all. We got like this. I think we were 2 of 5 on that tour because it was Gatsby's and Copeland were the other main support. And then it was us and they had a rotating cast of like actual opener bands, the 1 of 5s. So we were the babies. We didn't know exactly what we're doing. It was our first tour in venues of that size with actual backstages. I mean, we were used to playing like VFW halls and smaller places like, the Donkey.
Yep.
Where like there's no real delineation between crowd and backstage, it's just like there is a stage and then there is floor and that's really all there is to it. But yeah, so I mean, they were the first ones to kind of take us under their wing and be like, oh yeah, like this, but with zero ego. Like it was all just like, we want to help you guys. And that was really cool. We just hit it off with them. We even still like saw Matt Watts, he was like doing marketing for Vans and stuff. Saw him at Warped Tour. We sat there and chatted for probably like 20 minutes. And like I've seen Kenny like randomly throughout. We played a couple like acoustic gigs together, and they just every time I see those guys, I feel like I'm home. Like, it's like these guys, we're good. So I'm really hopeful. And so I talked to Watts. We're going to try to make a tour happen at some point. It has to happen because we get on so well together.
That one, I don't need a guest list because I'll be the first in the pre-sale queue.
Fair enough.
What a tour that would be.
Yeah.
So just seeing I feel like you guys are very similar, and I want to touch on this too, because I feel like you guys both had your foot enough in the mainstream, but enough in the pop punk world, Warped Tour world. How did you guys balance like a career like that where you were so like the iconic emo band, but had the top 40 success too? And those are 2 very different crowds to play for.
Yeah.
And cater to.
I mean, you've ever seen those like jugglers or whatever, where they have like the little wheel and they have like the 2x4 they stand on, and then they're trying to like balance and it's going back and forth and doing that thing. That's what it feels like. Where you're like, you really don't know how to do it. You just try not to fall on your ass. Like it's really the only way.
Man, it's so cool to hear. And it's so cool to hear that you guys are still friends after all these years too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just always felt like, I mean, from the last interview we did, like as soon as you get Kenny and me in the room together, we just chit chat. We're just going. We're just 2, peas in a pod, which is, I would say, like, not that like singers are like, polar opposites or, diametrically opposed in that way. It's like just singers vocally, you're trying to say, you're not trying to talk a bunch, you're not trying to like hang out a lot during tour. And then you just also like a lot of pressure just in that, like, you're the only instrument, as you know right now, that like you don't like, you can be sick and go out and play guitar. Yep. Maybe you don't feel good, but your fingers work, unless you got like meningitis or something. I don't know, where your joints all clam up, but like, I think that's the right. Sorry, my wife's. She'd be like, "That's not meningitis." I'm like, all right, whatever. Just came to mind. I don't know. We'll see if it's right. We'll Google it after this. Meningitis. Anyway. Yeah. So I mean, like vocally, like you got to keep your health together and like make sure you don't lose your voice. So it's like, and you're always in your head about it. Like, oh, is it going to be good? So I think singers like always have like a little bit of like respect, but we don't necessarily like hang all the time. But like Kenny was that like, yeah, let's hang, let's party, let's just like talk and chill, and such a good dude. So I mean, like whenever I get around him, it's just we're just yapping.
Oh,
we're just going at it. Dude, did you hear this? No, I haven't heard that, bro. You know, like it's cool.
I did an interview with the starting line at Warp 2019, the 25 year, and he was talking about hanging in the parking lot. I'm like, man, I missed out by like 10 years. Like that sounds so much more fun.
Yeah.
The time I had was very fun, but that sounds more fun hanging with Kenny from the starting line, honestly.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Hell yeah. Oh man, this weekend was so good at the Vans Warped Tour Long Beach, and we're going to talk more about the Vans Warped Tour right now and how incredible this weekend is. And then I got some more questions too we're going to be asking you.
Let's do it.
So now you guys just played the Vans Warped Tour after not playing it for 20 years, which is crazy to think about, especially with Chroma coming out with the re-recording and everything. What was the biggest difference going into this Vans Warped Tour performance versus when you guys played the whole entire tour, or the dates you played on the first time?
Ooh, biggest difference is the first one you're just trying to survive. And this one we're like, what's our lighting package going to look like, you know? Yeah, the first one was difficult to say the least. Just, I mean, it's a hard tour. It's just, it's long, it's hot, it's, you know, back to back to back to back to back days. But such a cool thing to be a part of. And especially like, you know, historically now we get to say like, oh yeah, we played it. This was our year, you know, we're on the poster somewhere. So yeah, it's just very cool. It's an honor.
It's really cool. And it's really cool to see. Also, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, but the visuals you guys had, like no band's ever had visuals at the Vans Warped Tour, especially like, I think maybe in 2019, they might've had some for the headliners like Blank and A Day to Remember and stuff. Yeah. But like seeing you guys with full on production, and the production was so fucking sick too. Like you had a Labubu contest at one point.
We did.
And then like just the visuals though, how did that all come about? Because I know there was someone who was very special behind the scenes who had a playing part in it, who I got to give props to, Jay. Fucking crushed it.
Yeah. Our one of our managers works very closely with Steve Aoki, so obviously like visuals king. So we have really good people in our corner that know a lot about like lights and, you know, all the visual production. And Jay crushed it. Yeah. So it was really fun. We actually, I think we were the only band on that stage. We ran like camera lines to be able to like mix that into the visuals and the video board in the back.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just to be able to do that at night and, you know, that make it like, yeah, kind of a little more dimensional. It was really cool.
I was smiling ear to ear the whole time and like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So now this whole interview has mostly been about Chroma, as I feel like most of the year has been about Chroma for you guys in some capacity. You're playing the Vans Warped Tour. It's a psychotic performance, and all you're doing is talking about Chroma in most interviews and prepping with Chroma. That wasn't the set though. You guys played all the hits.
Yeah.
Now, going into that, how is that when you're talking about one thing and really planning out one thing, but you had to kind of take a 180 in a way and divert maybe in a little bit of an audible of a set?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to give away too much of the Chroma, you know, album. I mean, I think even from DC, we took out 2 Chroma songs and like played a different one, and then added more stuff from Cycles, just to be able to shuffle it around a little bit, not do exactly the same thing that we did there. So nobody would really know exactly what to expect. Plus, save a little in the tank for when we come back around on the Chroma tour.
Definitely.
Yep.
And speaking of surprises, you surprised everyone, including myself, on Thursday by maybe premiering a new song acoustically.
I did.
Potentially. So what was it like playing a brand new song acoustically stripped down for everyone? Because I feel like that's probably the most vulnerable way to play it.
Oh, big time. Yeah. We had talked about it, like, you know, with me and management, we work really closely, talk every day, and like, yo, we're gonna do an acoustic set. Why don't you play a new song? I was like, oh, yeah, but which one? You know, there's like so many to choose from. We haven't like really like earmarked like, you know, a single or anything yet. Specific. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea, but we haven't like said like, yes, it's definitely this one. But I think that song, like specifically for acoustic, is probably the most similar in a way. Like the playing it doesn't come across as strange to move it from the way I played it on acoustic to the way it sounds on the record. I mean, it's definitely not an acoustic song on the record. It rips. It's full tilt. Oh, I love that. But I think lyrically that one stands apart and like works out really well with like an acoustic translation. So yeah, it just kind of was, you know, one we had to put out there.
That's really cool. And man, just hearing you say that was a new song, I was like, holy shit, it's a new song.
We had to prove we're not, just completely full of it. It's like, no, this actually exists. Here's a new one.
Yeah. Oh man, you did a great job of showing it too.
Cool. Thanks.
So now going into the re-recording of Chroma, did that help influence the next record at all, and kind of play a part in some stuff you might have done dynamically on the record?
Yeah, I mean, I think it did. I mean, they were separated by quite a bit of time, and when we did Chroma re-record, there was not any intention of a new record at the time, because I've always said, like, I'm not going to make a record unless I feel like I have something to say or write about. Just because, I mean, I'm kind of, for better or for worse, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve and on my face. Like, if I'm not into it, I'm not into it, and like, I can't really fake music.
Yeah.
It's probably why my writing career in Nashville didn't work too well. Just call it like it is. But yeah, that's where I, like, if it's going to be Cartel music, it has to be authentic. It has to come from the heart. And I think doing Chroma re-record, kind of seeing that come to fruition, it isn't something, it is Cartel, obviously, but then, like, being able to hear it new and revitalized and kind of put more into modern context, I was like, oh yeah, let's do it like that. Because I mean, the guitar recording's a little different. We weren't, back in the day, we were like, no, we're not gonna, we're gonna do, we're all focused on, these amps and this kind of cool, and we're not gonna play Mesa Boogies, and then, like, the entire record is Mesa Boogie this time, for the most part. So it's like, yeah, we want it to just, like, turn it up, slam it, and let's go. So I think a little bit of that, recentering around, like, what does a Cartel record sound like, and going back to the well, obviously, of Chroma, to figure that out. It's just, like, kind of just another gift that the album gave us of, like, oh yeah, like, and you're gonna find yourself again, and, like, what your voice in Cartel means. Not my literal voice, but
I knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely, like, kind of set a little bit of a precedent for us to be like, okay, like, now I see what we can do. I hear it again.
Hey, I heard it the whole time, so props to me,
Yeah, I appreciate
Glad
that.
you guys were able to hear it too.
We'll consult you for LP6.
Oh, please. So now everyone knows from Cartel's history, you guys did Band in a Bubble after you guys did Chroma. And, like, not to make a joke out of it, but in 2020, everyone had to become a band in a bubble if they wanted to put out music. So
it's true.
So now, when was the first time you guys were deciding to write new music? Was it around that 2020 time where you're like, oh, we're kind of prepared for this already?
We were kind of planning on launching. Initially, we had like, we were going to do, I think Chain Fest and Furnace Fest were both, like, kind of booked as we were going to do those in 2020. And then obviously, like, nobody did anything in 2020. But yeah, so, like, coming back into having to, kind of circle the wagons and do things, like, in a bubble, we were prepared to say the least. Been there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, 2020 sort of kicked the can down a little bit and kind of changed the way everybody does everything. And I think, honestly, it was a little bit of a good thing, as that might sound weird. I think every band I've talked to, and they talk about, like, pre and post COVID, it's all like everybody has a different appreciation because everybody lost it for a minute. Like, we can't do live shows. What? And then we got it back, thankfully. So, I think it ultimately gave everybody a different sense of, like, what it means to do this. And, for that, I'm thankful. But, we had already done that, 13 years before.
Would you ever do something like that again?
Like, if we could control every aspect of it, yeah, why not? I mean, it's essentially no different from being in a tour bus. Like, we can do that for 5 weeks. We can do something for 20 days. That's not a big deal at all. And a tour bus is much smaller than what that bubble was. We'll just abandon a yurt this time, do it somewhere in the woods.
That will end great.
Probably not.
So you just triggered something in my memory. Chainfest. I totally forgot you guys played Chainfest when I came back. I remember just being so happy. I remember, I think it was Jax's birthday, Jax or Brave's birthday, her husband's birthday. And we had just gone to brunch, and then it was a Somerset's first show back. It was like the first festival post-COVID, I think, that was back in Southern California.
Yeah, in SoCal it was, yeah.
Yeah, so talk about coming back to a festival with the Somerset playing their first show back. Obviously, you guys have done some stuff in the past together. Jimmy Eat World.
Yep.
Me nerding out over Envy on the Coast the whole entire day.
Oh, yeah.
I think Taking Back Sunday played that too.
They did.
And did Seosin play too?
Seosin and Amberlynn.
And Amberlynn. So coming back before When We Were Young was a thing, basically. How was it to like come back and be like, okay, this is our scene, and I'm pretty sure it's sold out completely.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. Being able to see all those bands again. Like I said, it wasn't that far removed from when everybody didn't know if we were ever going to be able to play shows again. Or at least not anytime soon. So there's a new appreciation. Everybody backstage was hanging out. That was actually the night that the Braves clinched over the Dodgers to go to the World Series, where we won.
Really?
I mean, I can't really speak a lot about the Braves right now, but
especially with one of the biggest Met fans out there.
Fair point. Mets, you're having your run, it's all good. We'll be back.
Yeah. Larry Jones is doing great. Retired.
100% old Larry.
Wait, it was just a 28-year anniversary of Al Roker telling the Met fans to fuck themselves too.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure it's some sort of anniversary. I saw it at the news recently.
Yeah, New York fans, you don't mess with them.
No.
One of our best friends, like touring guys, Chuck, he's a big Mets and Islanders, and Jets fan. And yeah, I wouldn't mess with him about any of those teams. Not even the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets could do whatever.
Yeah, but certain people, they're like, hey, keep the Jets name out of your mouth.
Exactly. It's like, who are you rooting for? The goddamn Jets.
Exactly. I hate it, but I'd root for them.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up a Giants fan, so I can't relate to the Jets thing. But being a sports guy that I just recently found out, how is it playing the Vans Warped Tour back in the day in some of these arenas that these incredible athletes would play in? Like, I remember like one of the coolest things was I got to like shower in the Denver Nuggets like dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying dressing room. No one killed me for that. Yeah, locker room.
Yeah, I mean, there were some really cool venues for that. I mean, like Atlanta Warped Tour was like in the Lakewood Amphitheater. It used to be called Lakewood Amphitheater parking lot. So that wasn't really like anything special related to sports. But there's like at one year it was like right outside Mile High.
Oh yeah,
in Denver. Yeah, I mean, there's just like I don't. No, that was the year we played. Yeah, I mean, it's all. It's all hazy. It's been a minute. 19 years, a long time. But yeah, no, that like anytime your venues sort of cross over with that, even like Bamboozle was at
Giant Stadium,
the Giant Stadium, yeah, Meadowlands. Like anytime you kind of cross into those things, it's just really cool. Like we did a college show at Notre Dame, and they let us like not walk all onto the field. Like, no, you can't go on this part of the grass, but you can go in like right behind the goalposts.
Yeah,
and it's just us inside the stadium. Just looking around like this is crazy. Like not a Notre Dame fan, but like obviously history. And Rudy, of course. Duh. Yeah. So, yeah, it's cool when those things sort of cross over and you get to experience that. Like we played the Braves stadium. We did the 7th inning stretch.
Oh no way!
Yeah, so we played Honestly acoustic on top of the home dugout.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which was playing in a stadium is impossible. It's really hard. The echo is insane. So that was crazy, but very cool.
That's wild. Mm-hmm. And I have to apologize to everyone out there right now. Will is right. It's the Meadowlands, not Giants Stadium. But me being a Giants fan, I always called it Giants Stadium. Now it's MetLife, and I think they still both play there.
Yeah.
No Bamboozle there, unfortunately.
No Bamboozle.
Man, what a time that was.
That was crazy.
So now, it seems like you play the Vans Warped Tour in some capacity every 10 years, because 10 years ago was the Warped Cruise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cruise. That was crazy. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, talk about like bands, plural, in a bubble.
Oh, yeah. No, you're definitely in a bubble there. I was very seasick during that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd never got like motion sickness before, but that one got me pretty good. So I immediately had to jump on the Dramamine and like all the patches and stuff, and then like, it was fine. Yeah. But then when we got home, like I definitely had like jelly legs and was kind of feeling like the
Damn.
Yeah, it was like called land sickness or something.
Weird.
So I learned my lesson on any other subsequent cruise. I was like, I'm taking Dramamine like a week before. I'm getting ready for this, and it's been fine. But but you're jumping on there and you're doing signing, and it's like the Aquabats are over there, and you're like, they're wearing their suits, right? Or am I just actually sick? What's going on?
And I want to bring up the Warped Cruise because, man, when you think about it, that lineup together on a cruise ship is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Good Charlotte, Simple Plan, Chase Atlantic, who's doing insane things right now, selling out stadiums in Europe.
Yeah.
Courage My Love was on it. Starting Line, obviously you guys. I think American Hi-Fi was on it. I ran into Stacy like on the last day.
Yep.
So how was it coming back after not doing the Vans Warped Tour for 10 years to do something like that and be stuck literally at sea with all these old friends and new friends too?
I mean, it's really cool and honestly like pioneering because I think a lot of the bands of Emo's Not Dead, like some of the other cruises, I mean, the Andrew McMahon cruise, I think it just kind of showed that, yeah, you can go out and do this like in our scene and like people will show up and they will, they'll go cruise with you.
Yeah.
It's just another, feather in the cap for Warped Tour and the things that they pioneered.
So cool. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Well, Will, I got one more question for you, maybe two.
All right.
But if you were to collaborate with any artist on the Vans Warped Tour, living or dead, past or present, who would it be?
311. I'm an old school 311 fan. They were like the first band that really like them and Smashing Pumpkins really kind of just set all the alarms off inside of me. Like, oh my God, this is amazing, and my first Warped Tour I went to Warped Tour 2C 311 and then got to be exposed to all the bands. I think I went maybe 8th grade or 9th grade, something like that. And got to be exposed to all these bands. It was like Rancid. I think AFI was on that. I don't know. I went to like every Warped Tour, like until we played it, after that. So it kind of all blends together, but Blink was on it. It was like Blink and 311 and Rancid. And it was just, I mean, I knew about Blink. How did you not know about Blink at the time? Right. But, that band's like one of those that's like every single lyric up to a certain point, where like when we started making records, I was like, look, there's just too many, there's too many things I got going on in my head. I can't listen to this much music. Plus they have like so many albums, but, that would be really, really cool.
All right, I actually have two more questions based off of that.
Let's
now.
go.
So, I always see like bands talk about like, and also press talk about other bands like, oh, this is next Blink-182. Oh, this is the next Good Charlotte. Oh, this is the next whoever. Mm-hmm. Who do you see as the next Cartel?
Ooh. Damn, that's a good question. The next Cartel. Shit.
I can't even think of one in my head.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I don't know. I'll do you one better. So like it's not Cartel necessarily, but they're from Atlanta. So I'm gonna rep my city right now. Paradox.
Love those boys.
Sweetest dudes, crazy talented. We did a Christmas show last year called ATL Ho Ho Ho, which is funny as hell. But because it's ATL Ho,
yeah,
and then Ho Ho. But we did a show. We used to have a Christmas show all the time. We haven't done it before, so we ran it back, and they thankfully were in town and did us the honor of them playing, and so we get to a little bit more closely associated with them, get to hang out. I think they're going to be absolutely massive, and I mean obviously like Travis Barker is co-sign, like, but they're going to be fine, but they're from Atlanta, and I've always kind of made, like, even at the ATL Ho 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 show, I said, like, it's kind of disappointing to me that Atlanta doesn't have more of a pop punk scene, because you look at Jersey and New York, obviously Philly, like all East Coast places, and there's a huge pop punk scene, and you got obviously Chicago and LA and the Bay Area. Like there's so many different regions that have this pop punk scene, and there's a real community around it. I'm like, there is absolutely no reason why Atlanta shouldn't have the same thing. We got tons of people. This music does really well here. There's tons of people that come to shows. Like, I grew up in a community of people, but it just like, it never really took root. It was too like, too much of lone wolves like running around. And there was really no one else coming up around the same time as us, other than like a Small Victory, which we toured with, but they broke up, so didn't really have the opportunity to like build something there. But I would love to build something in Atlanta, like with the Paradox, like kind of coming up, and like obviously like bringing in more diversity and inclusion in the scene is really important, I think. And they're perfect for like the timing of what the scene needs right now. So like, I'm really excited to watch those guys just.
It's so inspiring. And also I got to give a shout out, because I talk about it with him every time I see him. I'm like, Zealand, every time I see your story, I'm so inspired and happy, because you are the happiest person on social media.
Like, if that guy's ever sad, I'm like flying wherever he is and be like, we got to fix this, because you're the happiest dude I know. You give me hope to be happy all the time.
Exactly. I saw about Warped Tour. I'm like, Zealand, I saw you 2 weeks ago and you look 50 times more famous and happier than you did.
Yeah.
Which I thought was impossible at the time.
Right. I know.
And that's crazy, because I can only think of 3 bands from Atlanta off the top of my head, actually. That's you say it. Cartel, Paradox, and Chapel.
Yeah.
I think Chapel's from Atlanta.
They're Atlanta adjacent. I know Zach and Kenneth worked with them.
Gotcha.
Manchester Orchestra.
Ooh, okay.
But not really pop punk.
Yeah.
Not really in our scene, but yeah,
Chapel
Manchester
wasn't pop
Orchestra.
punk either, but
We'll accept them.
Exactly. Their song Big Baby is so good on their new record.
Yep.
And now for my final question.
Okay.
I know everyone's been waiting for this. Just me when I thought of it, actually. Is Lucky Street actually a real place?
It is.
So
it is a real place.
What's the story behind it? Because obviously the main has 8123, and that's become a very big thing in their community, the 8123 parking garage. So does Lucky Street have a significant meaning to Cartel?
It does. So when some of our guys, when we moved out of our, parental homes, and moved into Atlanta, there was an apartment building where I was still in high school. Those guys are still older than me, 1 year older. So they moved to this place, and I would go visit them every weekend and go see my girlfriend who lived in Atlanta, and happens to be my wife. So like Lucky Street, that was like right when we were kind of starting to date. So like all the girls on Lucky Street, or, talking about the gossip and the latest girls, all that, like that's kind of all centered around that, because that apartment building was on Lucky Street. So that's why it's spelled like that. That is the spelling of the street, which now is like kind of a center of attention. So if you're just a tourist in Atlanta and happen to be a Cartel fan, like you will hit Lucky Street, because it's like the World of Coke, the Georgia Aquarium, like the College Football Hall of Fame. It's all like on Lucky Street. And funny enough, the Tabernacle, which is one of like the most famous venues in Atlanta, and it's the House of Blues was there before it was the Tabernacle.
Okay.
Is like the address is 123 Lucky Street.
No way.
Mm-hmm. So it's just like all the things.
I definitely wondered that back in the day, and then midway through the interview, I'm like, when could I ask him? When could I ask him? I got to ask him last.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because like I think Go Radio had a song called Lucky Street, but it was with the Y.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was just like, bro, you know that there's a real Lucky Street, and we already got a song called Lucky Street, dude. Like, find a different title. But small potatoes to worry about.
Exactly. It all adds to the lore.
Indeed, yeah.
Which is a great word I learned in the last year. Lore.
Yeah, lore is an amazing word, yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
word. Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming by the idobi Warped Radio studio, the idobi studio where we're recording idobi Warped Radio. And thank you so much for everything this weekend. It's been a true honor and pleasure to get to reconnect, see you play twice, and just be a part of everything Cartel related. So thank you so much. And I want to play one more song by Cartel before we get out of here. So what song do you want me to play for everyone?
Great question. Let's go with, next single is going to be Runaway.
Here's Runaway by Cartel off the Chroma. I was about to say 20 year, but I don't know if it's out technically yet.
idobi Warped Radio.